it's never over. You know, it's with the team that we have, with the staff, the pitching staff that we have, with the hitters that we have on the team, with the guys off the bench. I mean, we're always in a position to make a run, to come out on top, and we just have to. We can't give up.
Hard to third, bobbled, no play. Reds win it.
It is an absolutely glorious weather night for baseball in downtown Cincinnati, and welcome to the opening week of the Major League Baseball season, presented by Burger King. And right from the get-go, a collision of two of the teams many believe are the best in the National League Central. The defending world champion Cardinals come to town in the first of three against the Reds. And hi again, everybody. Alongside Chris Welsh, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. And, about 3 hours ago, Chris, we're here before the game. You go down into the Cardinal clubhouse, and it seems like there's a huge void down there. Some of the biggest names and the biggest stars, both player and manager, no longer here.
Well, you're right about that. They're missing some big boys, and obviously the biggest boy of all is Albert Pujols, maybe the best player in all of baseball, gone. He's with the Angels now. Tony La Russa, no longer the manager of the Cardinals. Of course, La Russa for so long was more than just a manager. He ran the whole organization, dictated almost how you did everything from the time you got to the ballpark to the time you went home. And Dave Duncan, one of the shrewdest pitching coaches around, is no longer there either. So it's a different attitude now for all these Cardinals.
You bring up Pujols. How will they replace some of his numbers? They're starting with Carlos Beltran.
Well, they have to make sure that everybody in their lineup stays healthy. They don't have the kind of depth that's going to take a bad injury to one of their key players, especially a guy like Carlos Beltran. They tell me that Beltran is healthy now. His knees are right. He can really pivot on his legs. And when you do that, you can pop the ball out of the ballpark. No one expects any one player in that lineup to try to replace Albert Pujols, but collectively, they feel that they could be better this year than last year.
Cardinals off to a 3-1 start. The Reds took 2 of 3 in their opening series against the Marlins. And when we come back, we'll talk about the principals on the mound tonight, starting with the Reds' Homer Bailey. The report brought to you by Thompson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drain Cleaning. Let's check in with our old buddy Tim Hedrick.
Oh, you knew the bat would be back. Looks like a cool night down at the old ball yard. 62 to start, 52 to end. Winds out of the northwest, a little bit breezy at about 10 to 20 miles per hour. Jay Westbrook on the mound for St. Louis. He's given up 129 home runs. Wait for it. Wait for it. Now 130. Whoop, whoop. By the way, that's a new cry of the Cincinnati Reds when they hit a home run. Whoop, whoop.
Very nice, very nice. All right, here's a pitching matchup. You heard it, Jake Westbrook. He's a slimmer Jake Westbrook this year. And Homer Bailey now at 25. Chris, is this a year it all comes together?
Well, not so sure about that, but you've got two pitchers that are going in really different directions. Jake Westbrook lost 20 pounds in the offseason. Homer Bailey put on 12 pounds, trying to make sure that his shoulder felt stronger, better. He has a loose shoulder syndrome that has plagued him in the past and kept him from ever really completing a full major league season. For Homer Bailey, it's all about controlling what's between the ears, trying to settle it down a little bit, slow the game down. He's got plenty good enough stuff. He just has to make sure that he takes what he does in practice out on the mound when the game begins.
Well, it's been the best rivalry in last couple of years. The Cubs no longer the big rival for the Cardinals. Now it's the Reds, and they collide for the first time in 2012 when we come back. Russa is their manager, the youngest skipper in all of baseball this year. Former Major League catcher Mike Matheny. Here's his lineup. Rafael Furcal, Carlos Beltran, Matt Holliday, Berkman, Freese, Molina in the middle. John Jay, Daniel Descalso, and Jake Westbrook, the latter third. Great start for these Cardinals. They've been swinging the bats, winning 3 of their first 4. And it's strike 1 from Homer Bailey. We are underway. A big reason why the Cardinals have come out on all cylinders. Furcal, 10 hits in his first 19 at-bats to begin the year. But quickly behind here at 0-2.
22 starts last year for Homer Bailey, overall a 9-7 record. Would love to be able to stay healthy long enough this year to get himself 25 to 30 to maybe even 33 starts.
Furcal barely got a piece of that to stay alive. It's still 0-2.
Homer did not have a great spring, And a lot of people thought that if he didn't have a good spring, maybe his number 5 spot in the rotation might be in jeopardy. But the injury to Ryan Madsen caused Aroldis Chapman, the other guy competing for the number 5 spot in the rotation, to be put in the bullpen. So it's Homer here all alone that number 4 spot.
Number right back to the mound. He'll play it on a second hop and takes care of for Paul to begin the ball game. We take a look at the Reds on defense, presented by your Ford dealers. Again, it'll be Heisey out in left field, flanked by Stubbs and Bruce. Along the infield, Roland back in the lineup. Game-winning hit you may remember he had yesterday. What a start for Kozak. And a battery again of Homer Bailey and Ryan Hannigan. Beltran 7 of 18 to begin the year with a couple of home runs. Spent last year with both New York and the San Francisco Giants. And healthy once again, had a nice season. 22 home runs, 84 batted in at 39 doubles. 2-0. St. Louis, of course, won the National League wild card. They had 90 wins against 72 losses a season ago, and they clinched that final wild card spot on the final day of the regular season. That's in the air, and Stubbs still drifting, hauls it in for out number 2. And it was arguably the greatest comeback in the history of Major League Baseball. The Atlanta Braves had the second best record in the National League. They had the third best record in all of baseball on August the 24th and led the Cardinals in the wild card by a whopping 10.5 games. The Cardinals rallied back and eventually captured their 11th World Championship in a thrilling World Series. 7 games to beat Texas.
It really couldn't have worked out better for Tony La Russa to go out on a year in which his team played must-win games really from the middle of August all the way to the very end of the World Series, to go out with a World Series championship and then tell the baseball world he was retiring. I mean, if you could draw it up as a manager who's been around as long as Tony La Russa, one of the best ever in the game, that's the way you'd want to draw it up.
La Russa, the third most managerial wins in the history of baseball, over 2,700. In his 16 years with the Cardinals, they went to the playoffs 9 times, a league championship series 7 times, 3 World Series winning twice. And that one is hit well into left center field by Holiday, and the Cardinals lead 1-0.
Well, it looks like a slider that is down in the zone but catches a lot of the plate. And right there, that happens to be a spot where Matt Holliday likes it. He likes it down out over the plate. Very much a swing like Ryan Ludwig. And you get it out there, it doesn't even have to be that fat of a pitch. He'll launch it and launch it a long way, picking up in that number 3 spot for Albert Pujols.
Pujols almost exclusively has been in that number 3 hole for the Cardinals, going all the way back to 2001. When he came up to the big league club, and now that spot belongs to Holiday. 2 down for Lance Berkman. Berkman, one of the few Cardinals off to a slow start, and a slow start means hitting 300 without a home run, has 1 run batted in. Boy, do they have some guys right now to start the year knocking the cover off the ball. Two and one.
Well, they have 3 games in which they had as a team 13 hits or more. You compare that to the rest of the league, and there's only 1 in the rest of the National League that has a team with 13 hits in a ball game. So what that tells me is they're ready to come back down to earth.
The third team they've already played this year. You may remember the Cardinals began the year opening the new ballpark down in Miami. They played 1 game, then went to Milwaukee, where they won 2 out of 3 over the weekend. 3 balls and a strike to Berkman.
They really had a wild end of spring training travel-wise. They went up to play an exhibition game against, I think, Little Rock, if I'm not mistaken. Then they went back to West Palm. They took a bus down to Miami, opened to Marlins Stadium, and then went to Milwaukee to play a series. They have yet to be back in St. Louis.
3-1 to Lance Berkman. And a fastball is fouled back out of play. Berkman with 23 home runs in this ballpark. He has played exactly 162 games in his career against the Reds. Of course, that makes up an entire baseball season. He's hit 52 home runs against the Reds and knocked in over 140 runs. Look at those numbers.
That's an MVP year, to say the least. 10 more points to his batting average. It's a Triple Crown year.
That one popped out of the mid of Hannigan, and it remains a full count on Berkman. Cardinals, along with the Marlins, seem like 2 teams that play every single day to begin this year. The Marlins played earlier today after leaving here yesterday, and they downed the Philadelphia Phillies 6-2. Phillies have only won once in now their first 4 games. And there's ball 4 to Berkman. Bailey was on his way to the dugout thinking that was strike 3. David Freese is one of the guys that the Cardinals are really leaning on to pick up the numbers that, of course, left and made their way to Anaheim when Albert Pujols went there. Coming off a year where he was a National League Championship Series most valuable player, the World Series most valuable player, set postseason records last year, 21 RBIs and 50 total bases for Freese. His problem has been staying healthy. He's never played more than 97 games in a major league season. In the air, right field. Bruce back to the wall. 3-0 St. Louis. Freese now with a pair of home runs and 8 RBIs to begin this season.
That is his power alley. David Freese loves to hit the ball the other way. He gets a fastball that he lets travel very deep in the hitting zone before he puts the wood to it. And in this ballpark, if you're a little bit strong and you can hit the ball the other way, you can go deep. Right now, there's not a lot of difference between Homer Bailey's pitches as far as speed goes. His slider's at 87, his fastball's at 90 to 93, and there's no difference where you're going to get a hitter off speed. He's got to figure out a way to get something off speed over.
This ball's clobbered and is straight away center field, and the Cardinals have their 3rd home run in the 1st inning off Homer Bailey. That one from Yadier Molina. In this inning, the Cardinals had 2 out with nobody on. Homer, walk, Homer, Homer. And Homer's going to have a visit from Brian Price.
Well, the first pitch jumping on by Yadier Molina right here. He's figuring he's getting the fastball, and he takes it right out the front door. Now, the wind is blowing out here tonight at Great American Ballpark, but the balls that the Cardinals have hit so far tonight, they don't need a whole lot of help. He's throwing it straight, he's throwing it thigh high, and that's a recipe for disaster if you're a pitcher.
So now the batter, John Jay, 7th Cardinal to bat in what has been so far a 4-run 1st inning. Jay's going to get a chance to get regular playing time for the first time in his career this season. Now, he played more games than any other Cardinal last year. 159 of them, but of course a lot of times was coming off the bench to either pinch hit or take over defensively in the outfield. He got more playing time after they traded away Colby Rasmus. And that one's into center field, a base hit. Bailey trying to find a way to get through this top of the first inning. 5 straight Cardinals have reached. 4 of the 5 have scored. 3 of the 5 have homered.
Well, if you look at where Homer's throwing the baseball right now, I mean, the low part of the strike zone is right about thigh high. If you're going to work down, you've got to work down around the hollows of the kneecaps. Because the difference between getting a ball right below the knees and about 3 inches above the knees is the difference between getting the ball on the ground and getting the ball out of the ballpark.
Daniel Descalso a swing and a miss. Hit .264 a year ago with a home run and 28 runs batted in. And mercifully, the first inning comes to an end. 4 runs, 3 long balls against Bailey. The Reds in a 4-0 hole as they bat for the first time. Ohio, brought to you by the 2012 Ford F-150 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. By Cincy USA. Let us be your travel guide to Cincinnati, USA. Visit CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Game time is Skyline time. Stop by your favorite Skyline Chili today. Now the Reds come to bat in a 4-0 hole against Jake Westbrook. Brandon Phillips to lead it off. Zach Cozart at short. Joey Votto at first. Scott Rowland in the cleanup spot with Jay Bruce in right and Chris Heise in left. The latter third of Bruce Stubbs in center. Ryan Hannigan and Homer Bailey. Jake Westbrook, a 12-game winner a year ago.
Now 1 game over 500 in his career. 3 games over last year. Jake Westbrook had 33 starts. And he came into spring training ready to go. He had some question marks as to whether he would be able to nail down a spot in the rotation. Of course, the injury to Chris Carpenter secured him in the rotation. Sinker ball pitcher. If he's on, you'll see a lot of those.
Bare hand play by Westbrook. That didn't take long. 1 pitch and 1 out.
Not an overpowering pitcher at all, but you can see, even on his first delivery, the dip in the baseball, you hit the top hand of it, and or the top part of the baseball, and he makes a nice little play, barehanded play, and one pitch, one out.
Well, you go back over an 8-year time frame from 2003 through 2010, and a lot of those years for Westbrook, he was the ace in Cleveland. But during that time frame, over 8 seasons, ranked 3rd among all major league pitchers in getting those ground balls. Of course, Brandon Webb was by far #1 during that great run he had in Arizona. And boy, what a shame. But Brandon Webb has had to deal with all those shoulder issues. Young man from Ashland, Kentucky. And won a pair of Cy Youngs. And Chris, I fully believe that he stayed healthy. He might have won one or two more.
I don't think there's any question about it. I mean, you talk about stuff. He threw 93, 94, and the ball just fell off the table. Couldn't throw it straight if he wanted to.
There's a 4-pitch walk to Cozart. He's off to a great start this year.
And not only that, Brandon Webb, one of the finest individuals you'd ever meet.
No doubt about it. Cardinal defense presented by your Ford dealers. Lance Berkman moves from right field to first base, replacing Albert Pujols. Still Yadier Molina back there behind the plate, the game's best defender at catcher. And now Beltran out in right field, taking over where Berkman played last year. Here's Joey Votto. Joey, 2 of his first 10 to begin the season, one of them a home run that came on Saturday night. And Westbrook now has missed on 6 in a row.
Well, you know, if you're the Reds, you can't get down. You're down 4-0, yes. You can't expect to come back and score all 4 runs in this inning, but you peck away. You make it hard for Westbrook. You make sure that a guy who had a hard time throwing strikes last year throws you strikes tonight.
2-1 to Votto.
Westbrook had a very good spring, however. In 24 innings as a starter down there for the Cardinals, he had an earned run average of right around 1.5. So he came into camp ready to go, threw the ball very well. The only thing that's working against him right now, that it's been 9 days since he's pitched. So you got to figure a guy who's a sinker ball pitcher, a field pitcher, may not have that feel with that much time off between touches.
3-1 out of Votto.
Well, if anybody will give him a good at bat and make him throw strikes, it'll be Joey Votto.
And 1 to Votto. Cozart over at first base, and Westbrook to the plate. Ball 4. Back-to-back walks. So here comes Rowland with 2 on and 1 out in the bottom of the first inning. Mike Matheny, a native Buckeye. He grew up just outside of Columbus, Ohio, and Reynoldsburg, Ohio. He was originally drafted by the Milwaukee Brewers, came up in their organization. Had some outstanding years with the Cardinals and a little while near the very end with the Giants before concussions forced him out of the game.
Did you ask him after growing up in Reynoldsburg, a suburb of Columbus, why he ended up going to the school up north?
It's a very good question.
Yeah. We'll work on that tomorrow.
Tell you one thing that was interesting talking to him, and we'll talk about it later, not right now, but you know, he really is the poster child for concussions in the game of baseball.
He sure is.
And boy, did he have some telling stories about what he went through for the better part of 2 years trying to get right. 2-0 now, Westbrook.
He's just having a very difficult time trying to get his release point right. What I see out of Westbrook, he's not getting turned. He's kind of abbreviating his delivery a little bit, trying to aim the ball, almost kind of becoming somewhat of a dart thrower. And that's the worst thing you can do, is become so enamored with just trying to throw a strike that you change your delivery to try to do so. His pitching coach would be yelling at him, hey, just let it go. Be aggressive and go right after him. But it's awfully hard to do after you've walked a couple of batters.
Rolling the game-winning base hit in the bottom of the 9th inning over the Marlins yesterday, and of course spent his best seasons in the big leagues wearing a Cardinals uniform. 2-1. Two on and one out. Reds down 4-0 in the first. And that one's popped up in the infield. So this will be the second out of the inning. Infield fly rule in effect, and now Jay Bruce with 2 on and 2 out. To get to Rollins' game-winning hit in the bottom of the 9th inning yesterday. They had to tie the game first, and of course Bruce took care of that, homering to left center field off Marlins closer Heath Bell. And for Jay, a 2-home run game, and already 3 of them to begin the year.
Well, he's really put some very good swings on the ball so far in this short season.
In the air, short left center. Jay is there, and the threat comes to an end. A pair of walks, a pair left. End of one. Cardinals lead 4-0. Second inning, they sent 8 men to the plate, hitting 3 home runs in the first against Homer Bailey. So the pitcher will lead it off, strike one. The last time Homer Bailey allowed 3 home runs in an inning, the first inning of this game tonight. You've got to go back to Justin Lear in the 2009 season to find the last Reds pitcher to give up 3 long ones in an inning. Justin did so against Houston September the 16th of 2009. Rafael for a call, waits on deck, and then Carlos Beltran due up third here in the inning. We told you the Cardinals, they come roaring in, swinging the bats. The only game they've been slowed down to begin this year was on Saturday against Zach Greinke of Milwaukee. That's the first strikeout of the game for Bailey. Our game storylines brought to you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. We know all about the rivalry between these two teams in recent years. Last year in the 9th inning, Cordero hit Pujols, heard it from the Cardinals dugout, including their former pitching coach Dave Duncan. Cordero closed it out. That Cardinal club was a very ordinary club through the first 5 months, nearly 5 months of the year. But boy, when they turned it on, did they ever turn it on. And as good as they were, that's how bad Atlanta was. Two of the most historic final month collapses in the history of the game. Atlanta in the National League, and of course Boston last season in the American League.
Well, even though Atlanta collapsed, you still have to give some credit to the Cardinals, La Russa, Dave Duncan, who actually was not there at the end of the year, but the pitching staff that he put together, because they played game after game after game of must-win games. And they came out on top. Yeah, Atlanta lost 20 of the last 30 games they played, but the Cardinals really tightened it up when they had to. Yep. Bottom line. And it makes a great argument for more wild cards, which is exactly what we have in baseball this year. Of course, the Cardinals, a wild card team last year, was the Brewers that won. In fact, the Cardinals were 6 games out at the end of the season as far as the standings were. And they'll be getting their World Series rings in about a week or so.
Served in a short left field. Heisey is there, and Bailey, like he did in the top of the first inning, retires the first 2 batters here in the second inning.
You know, we saw with Carlos Zambrano on that Sunday afternoon game yesterday, when he gave up a few runs in the first inning, then he really buckled down. Sometimes pitchers feel more comfortable after they've given up a couple of runs. They're down a little bit, and the natural energy of the offense of the other team also goes away. So he can buckle down. He can still give the Reds a pretty good outing if he just conserves his pitch count and is able to throw the ball where he wants to.
Beltran flied out to center field in the first inning, and he takes that one at the bell to strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to Beltran. Holiday started that 4-run first inning with a 2-out solo home run. Freese hit a 2-run blast, and Molina hit a solo homer to straightaway center field to cap off the scoring. And 1 to Beltran, and Bailey winds, kicks, and fires, and a 2-hopper down to Roland. It's a 1-2-3 second. 4-0. 3 times.
Two fastballs, one slider for Heisey against Westbrook. Don't you think that Heisey doesn't know that, and Westbrook too? When a hitter's got you in his book, pitchers have a tendency to remember that. They also remember where the pitch was, what the count was, where the ball went. So Heisey's got to figure that Jake Westbrook will have a little different approach to him tonight. And he's missed down low with the first 2 pitches. If you really looked where those pitches were that Heisey hit home runs, first 2 were fastballs, waist high or above on the inner part of the plate. Second was a breaking ball, inner third, that he kind of hung right there. Now he's missed low and away both times. That's where he's trying to pick, that outside corner.
If you're just joining us, Westbrook walked 2 back first inning. That one way off the plate, up and in, 3-0. But then he retired Roland and Bruce to keep the Reds from getting on the board. Four-pitch walk to begin the inning.
Boy, if you're going to have a pitcher out there that walks as many batters here in an inning plus as Jake Westbrook has, you've got to take advantage of that. You got to figure he's struggling so much just trying to throw a strike that he's not going to be pinpointing in the strike zone. You be ready for something that comes right out of that pipe, right down the center of the zone, and ready to lay the wood to it.
Bruce Tubbs settles in, and a first pitch breaking ball near a strike. Stubbs 2 out of 10 to begin the season, trying to bounce back from certainly what he would tell you is a disappointing 2011 after having a very good 2010 year.
Well, if you throw that pitch in your Jake Westbrook, you want Drew Stubbs to make contact. That ball's down. It's got nice movement on it. He threw 22 ground ball double plays last year, and that's what he's depending on to get out of those problems that are caused by his wildness. He is a ground ball machine when he throws the ball over the plate.
1-2 on Stubbs. Westbrook in his career only twice has started in Cincinnati. One in 2004, and the one you saw Heisey homer in 2011. That game last year, he only allowed 2 runs, lasting just 5 innings. And they appealed. No. So after getting ahead 0-2, the count is now run full to Stubbs. Runner going and a bouncer down to third. That'll bounce foul. So 3-2 the count on Bruce Stubbs. Heisey over at first. Reds looking for their first hit. They've had 3 base runners so far in the game, and we'll do it once more at 3-2.
Got good speed on the base pass right there with Heisey. Of course, Stubbs the fastest player on the team. You get both those guys on, and you can make the defense mighty worried.
Heisey again taking a pretty good lead over there, and that's a quick move there by Westbrook. Of course, with 3 balls in the count, you don't have to worry about the catcher trying to pick you off unless it's a strike 3 call.
Well, very quick feet. That's what makes his move. The other thing is that he holds his hands very tight to his chest and he short arms the ball over there.
Ball 4. How about this? 4 walks through the first 7 batters in the game for Westbrook. Well, we invite you to follow the Reds with MLB.com at Bat 12, an app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, and Windows Mobile. You can get live audio, pitch tracking, video highlights, so much more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Reds.com for more details. Well, the Reds are down 4-0, but they have 2 on to begin the inning, and now the number 8 hitter is Ryan Hannigan. Slicing and caught by Beltran. That's a big out with Homer Bailey coming up.
Pretty good idea right there by Ryan Hannigan. I know there are some of you at home watching the game saying, gee, he just walked 2 batters. Why are you swinging at the first pitch? The theory is he's just trying to throw a strike. He's going to throw the ball right down the middle to me, and I'm going to have a very small strike zone. If I get it in that spot, I'm going to put a good whack on it, and that's exactly what he did right there. Just couldn't find a hole.
So now Bailey, you see a 191 batter, has never homered, has knocked in 8. And with 1 out, he'll be asked to try and move the runners along with a bunt. Shows bunt, pulls it away, takes a strike. Now Berkman is right on it. I mean, by the time that ball hit Molina's glove, Berkman couldn't have been more than about 20 feet tops from home plate. Well, a lot of moving parts here with Freese creeping in at third. Berkman charging in at first.
Part of that is intimidation. And that shouldn't have happened. You know, you're always told as a pitcher, and I'm sure it happens in the Reds organization, happens in every organization everywhere, that you don't bunt into a trap. The only way you want to lay a bunt down in this situation when you have the first baseman charging that hard, and Albert Pujols did it too. Berkman, a left-handed thrower, it's even an easier play for him. But you've got to get that ball down the third base line hard enough to make the third baseman field it. If you do, you've got a successful bunt. And you're sitting on the bench watching your guys in scoring position instead of out there at first base.
So now Brandon Phillips, he swung at the first pitch that Westbrook threw in the game and tapped out back to the mound, and he chases the first one here and goes around strike 1. Brandon 3 out of his first 13, looking for his first run batted in and looking for his first extra base hit. Oh, and 2. And he began with back-to-back walks to Heisey and Stubbs. Hannigan lined out to right. And they forced the lead runner Heisey out at third base on a bunt by Bailey. So Homer at first, Drew at second, and it's 0-2 to Phillips, and that's the way the inning comes to an end. Second inning in a row, the Reds put 2 on. Second inning in a row, they lead 2. moment.
But right now, we're going to show you where the pitches were that Homer Bailey had that served up the 3 home runs to the Cardinals so far in this ball game. If you watch where they are, I mean, right down the center of the plate, almost splitting the plate in half. Holiday gets one about knee high. That one by David Freese, opposite field. Boy, that's a great swing by Freese, and another great swing by Yadier Molina. But each and every one of those pitches, you could draw a line right down the center of home plate. And that's about where all those pitches were.
Holiday, first pitch swinging to begin the Cardinal third, in front 4-0, right into the mitt of Joey Votto. So here comes Lance Berkman with 1 out. Berkman followed the Holiday home run in the first inning, drawing a walk, and then scored on the homer by Freese. Strike 1. Berkman had a very nice bounce-back year last season. Many wondered what he had left in the tank. He had 23 home runs up to the All-Star break. He only had 8 the remainder of the season, but he did keep on hitting through the remainder of the season, hitting well over 300 during the second half. Wound up with 31 home runs and knocked in 94.
Little slider right here for Homer Bailey. Berkman looking for a fastball and commits himself and can't hold back. If you can, you want to pitch him in.
Two pitch. Fastball away, and the count is full on Berkman.
Well, you can see Ryan Hannigan back there coaching Homer Bailey, trying to encourage him. Come on, throw the ball right here. Kind of give him an extra encouragement, showing him body language where he wants the ball.
That one ripped into right center field. It'll fall in a base hit. Stubbs over to cut it off. He'll hold Berkman to a 1-out single.
And I think that's really why Ryan Hannigan is in there tonight, to catch Homer Bailey. Dusty Baker figuring that it would be the best way for the Reds to get up on him, but by having Ryan Hannigan acting as kind of an extra pitching coach. They've got Brian Price, they've got Mac Jenkins, now you've got Ryan Hannigan behind the plate.
Breaking ball there to David Freese, a swing and a miss. Freese, a 2-run opposite field home run in the 4-run first inning.
He didn't have any of those curveballs in for a strike of that first inning. He needs to mix that pitch in there.
Well, we talked about Freese and the inability to stay healthy. Just 3 years ago, right before spring training, he got in a very bad automobile accident. Broke bones in both of his feet, including an ankle. Last year, got hit by a pitch for a guy who's his teammate now. Scott Linebrink broke a bone in his hand. This should be 2 to get out of the inning. It is. So a hit, nobody left. Cozart to start things, to be followed by Votto and Rowland. Toyota sign during our game tonight. Stuart Kennedy from Cincinnati, who currently owns a 2001 Sequoia, will win the beautiful new Tundra on display each and every day at Great American Ballpark. And you can register for your chance to win at an upcoming game. Just stop by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. So, Stuart, good luck. Boy, a gorgeous night for baseball. Rough start for Homer Bailey and the Reds, giving up 4 in the first inning. So now they bat in the last of the third. Cozart, Votto, Rolen, they're hoping for more than that against what has been a very wild Jake Westbrook. He's already walked 4 batters over the first 2 innings, but he's not allowed a hit. Cozart had a 4-pitch walk his first time up. 2-1 here. John Jay to his left, 1 out. Right now, we invite you to log on to FoxSportsOhio.com. You can join the Hall of Famer, Hal McCoy, for a live in-game chat and get in touch with Zach Cozart. You can get it all, in fact, at FoxSportsOhio.com, presented by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO and SafeAuto.com. That little guy. And high back to you, young man. There's a foul ball out of play by Votto. He's got the Votto hat work in there. Oh, and 2 to Joey.
Joey choking up a little bit now with 2 strikes. One of the rare hitters in the league that'll do that.
Line in the left field, right at Holiday. And just like that, Cozart and Votto set down to open the third. And now Scott Rolen's turn. He popped up to the shortstop in the first inning. Reds trailing 4-0 here. Of course, just yesterday, I read where the Arizona Diamondbacks had the second largest comeback in their franchise's short history. They came back from 6-0 down to beat the Giants. So the Reds had their work cut out. We played 4-0 St. Louis. Now, when one member of your family buys a full-price ticket, they'll get the option to buy 3 additional tickets at half price. How about that? Not only that, the first 8,000 kids 14 and younger get a kids team baseball card set thanks to Cons. Sunday, family day at the ballpark. 513-381 Reds, or visit Reds.com for tickets. Cardinals 4, Reds nothing. St. Louis bats in the 4th inning. Yadier Molina hit one of the 3 Cardinal home runs off Homer Bailey, accounting for all 4 of their runs in the very first inning. Looks like C.B. Buckner, the home plate umpire, may have been shaken up a little bit on that foul tip. He says, I'm all right.
I think what happened on that is that the ball can't hit down the dirt, and a piece of dirt went up and got in his eye. Not good for a home plate ump. By the way, you didn't ask me about CB tonight.
You know what? Here we are in a new year. All the excitement of opening day, and you know, I dropped the ball. Not asking you about the home plate umpire for the season opener. There's a fly ball to the track. 1 out. Tell us a little more about C.B. Buckner. What is the scouting report on him behind the dish?
Well, the number on CB, the operative number, is 63.35. That's the percentage of strikes that he throws. Puts him right in the middle of the range. Maybe a little bit favoring pitchers more last year than in previous years. Originally from Jamaica. Went to State University of New York in Cortland, and he is enshrined in their Hall of Fame as a baseball player and an umpire.
That ball hit hard into left field and unable to get it is Heisey. And John Jay on his way to second base with a 1-out double.
Looked like Chris Heisey had that ball measured, and then it may have just carried a little bit more at the very end than he thought it would. John Jay's got an unusual stroke, but he usually seems to find a way to put the sweet part of the bat on it. Ball just ticked off his glove there.
Well, now the number 8 hitter, Daniel Descalso, who bounced out to Homer Bailey ending the first inning, bats for the second time. The pitcher Westbrook due up next. Bailey had a pair of stints on the disabled list. You may remember last year, Chris brought it up earlier. And even with that in mind, he set career highs in just about every major statistical category. Starts 22, quality starts 13, 9 wins, 132 innings, twice the victim of blown saves. Reds went 12-10 in the games he started, and boy, you talk about pitching on the right day. The Reds averaged 6 runs per game during Homer Bailey starts. Two and two. Descalso figures to share some playing time with a guy they've been waiting on to truly blossom into the player they once thought he would be, and perhaps still not too late for Tyler Green. But Green has just been unable to do at the big league level what he's done at the minor league level. Gone on strikes Descalso. That's 2 of them in the game for Bailey, so he has 1 more out with a pitcher coming up. And we quickly sneak in our AT&T trivia question for tonight. How about it, Mr. Welsh?
I'll name the 5 wild card teams to win the World Series. One of them obviously here tonight. St. Louis Cardinals last year.
The Marlins, I know, have done it twice. Both times they won the World Series. They were a wild card. So there's 3. There's a total of 5, huh? I don't know why I thought it was only 4. Oh, so there are really 4 teams that have done it. But one franchise has done it twice. So the 5 teams. The Marlins did it in what, 1997, and then again in 2003.
Weren't the Red Sox a wild card team?
I believe you're right. That's a ding, I'm told, down in the truck. So 1 more to go.
I'm good for the year with that.
That's very impressive. Very impressive. Huh. Well, you go back to what, 1995, if I'm not mistaken. That was the first year they went to the wild card. When, if I'm not mistaken, the first National League team to win the wild card was the Colorado Rockies in 1995. It's when they went to 3 divisions. 2-2 pitch, 3-2. So Boston has won. Not Toronto, not Seattle, not Texas. They've never won the World Series. To the count on Westbrook. Bailey needs a strike. And he gets it to end the inning. So 1-out double. John Jay left right there. We'll see if the Reds can get it going on offense. Food Group, creating great dishes together with the food service industry for over 30 years. Buy your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. And by Burger King, the proud sponsor of baseball's opening week. Boy, down on Fountain Square. Weather's supposed to be spectacular, not just tonight, but again tomorrow night. A little cooler tomorrow night, so you're coming down. Wear the jacket, wear a sweatshirt, and then an afternoon tilt to end this season opening 6-game homestand. That'll be a 12:35 game, and tickets are available for the final 2 games of it. Jay Bruce, Chris Heisey, Drew Stubbs here in the Reds' 4th inning, down 4-0.
Well, I mentioned it earlier on when Jake Westbrook is on his game. He's a ground ball pitcher. I mean, he gets them one after another. Last year he was second in the league in ground ball percentage. And those guys he was with, Charlie Morton, Derek Lowe, they are just famous for that. There's another one right there.
And a boot by Furcal. It's a hard hit ball, but a play that Furcal more times than not will make.
Well, you'd expect the big league shortstop to make that, but tonight the ground ball is somewhat of a rarity so far for Jake Westbrook. In fact, coming into this inning, he only had 2 outs via the ground ball. Every other out was either a pop-up or a strikeout.
Westbrook walked Cozart and Votto with 1 out in the first inning, got out of the inning. He walked Heisey and Stubbs to begin the second. Obviously no damage done. So now Bruce aboard after the Furcal error, and it's ball 1 to Chris Heisey.
Where you tell yourself, if you're Chris Heisey, I want it in on the inner part of the plate, not down low, knee or above.
What a play by Furcal, and he gets the out at second base. Couldn't make the routine, but makes it spectacular to get an out.
I'll tell you what, when that guy stays healthy, he really brings a sense of professionalism to the shortstop position. Quick feet, great arm. He makes a superb play right there. Robs Chris Heisey of a base hit. And the only reason Heisey won't get a hit here, of course, is that there's a man on first base. You'd never be able to get up and throw Heisey out at first.
While they get some of the dirt out of Furcal's left eye, we will zero in on our AT&T trivia question answer. The 5 teams to win a World Series as a wild card. We told you the Marlins did it twice. The Red Sox, the Cardinals last year, and the 2002 Anaheim Angels. That was the year. Joe Luckham, our statistician, reminds us that both teams had played in the World Series. The Angels and the Giants were both wild card winners. Holy Moses. And safe. He never made the tag. And then they get him at second base.
Well, maybe they made the tag and he felt it. And that's why he stopped running the bases right there. He's going to get a couple of people hollering at him as he goes back to the dugout. For not seemingly running it out, but he must have felt that tag on him. Probably on his foot right there. That's why he stopped and then turned around and saw the umpire wave no tag.
So 2 are out, nobody on. What's a nice play made down there. And didn't hit any dirt in his eye. Oh, it hurt though, didn't it? Chilly night. Take a look at this. It's big league play.
Oh, it's worth it.
I tell you, I don't know if that's his date sitting next to him, but man, you make a play like that, she can't be moving over a seat. One and 2 to Stubbs, 2 outs, nobody on. Reds batting in the 4th inning, the opener of this 3-game series against their division rivals and the defending world champions. Trailing 4-0. One hopper to Freeze, and the inning is over. An error, a man left, or nobody left, I beg your pardon. We move to the 5th. Cardinals in front 4-0. Reds Live has everything you need to know to get you ready for the ball game, and it's only on your exclusive home for Reds baseball, Fox Sports Ohio. Of course, Chris Welsh there, and if not once, perhaps even twice, each and every night. It's CBTS Tech Talk, and also a primer right before the first pitch. Tell you some of the keys to the game and things to look for. Well, they dropped in that segment on us tonight that you and I taped seemingly months ago out in Arizona.
Yeah, we did. That was a while ago. Towards the end of spring training, obviously.
When you and I were doing the game that night on radio over there in Surprise, Arizona. Huh. How about the Texas Rangers flexing their muscles?
They brought their A-team that night.
Broken bat roller off the bat up for a call, and Phillips will throw him out. Of course, tonight the major league debut of their highly touted Japanese import Yu Darvish, and he's already given up 2 runs at the top of the first inning against Seattle. By all accounts, Chris, I don't know if you saw him pitch during the spring, but I talked to a number of baseball people that did, and they could not stop talking about the repertoire that young man features.
They say that he has to have special signals that he gives the catcher. He's got so many different pitches that he throws that the catcher runs out of fingers on one hand. So it's up to Darvish to tell the catcher what he wants to throw. But one thing he did have a problem is throwing strikes, and he has a problem again tonight. In the first inning, giving up 2 runs and 3 hits, 2 walks. It's a little smaller strike zone over here in the major leagues than what he's used to over in Japan.
Really?
Yeah. From what I understand, talking to people that played and scouted in both places.
On Carlos Beltran, who's 0 for 2. He's fly to center and bounced out to Scott Rowland. All 4 Cardinal runs came in the first inning. And all 4 on 3 swings of the bat, clubbing 3 home runs. 3-1 to Beltran. First time since 2009 when Justin Lair allowed 3 home runs in 1 inning to the Astros. To Beltran, second walk of the game given up by Bailey. Matt Holliday, a home run to deep left center field. His second home run through the first 4 games and an at bat, and then popped up to Joey Votto on the very first pitch thrown by Bailey in the 3rd inning. Come for the Reds Day for more fun. Visit the new exhibition, A Day in Pompeii at Cincinnati Museum Center. Make it a weekend getaway and book your stay at CincinnatiUSA.com. Beltran at first, 1 out, 1-1 to Holliday, and a check swing and a miss on a breaking ball.
Now that's a curveball that Homer Bailey's beginning to use a little bit more here after the first inning. He threw 1 or 2 in the first inning. They did not go for strikes, and then he kind of put it in his pocket. But you've got to be able to change enough speed to get those hitters way out in front. He does that. Holiday can't hold up, and that's a called strike. That replay courtesy of our Performance Honda Exmo. Performance Honda.
Very nice.
Like that slow-mo.
Beltran at one time among the most feared base stealers in the game. But of course, he's had multiple operations done on his knee, one of them completely rebuilt. He was able to finally return last year and was moved from center field to right field with the New York Mets to take off some of the wear and tear.
Doesn't look like he's built like a base stealer anymore either.
We're at 2 now on Holiday.
Likely to be going on this. That's one of the areas where Homer really needs to tidy it up a little bit, especially against a team that can run. This Cardinal team not in that category. Other than for Call, and he doesn't run the way he used to. This is not a rabbit-laden team like the Marlins were. Shorten up that delivery, throw a strike right here.
There goes Beltran, swing and a miss, throw down to second, right on the money, and that's a strike him out, throw him out to retire the side. Hannigan will lead it off in the bottom of the 5th inning. Reds trailing 4-0. On Fuel TV Live, 5 hours of coverage featuring our main event. That's Saturday, April the 14th, beginning at 2 p.m. Eastern on Fuel. Well, Jake Westbrook walked 2 batters in the first inning. He walked 2 batters in the second inning. The last 2 innings, he's thrown 9 pitches in each of the 2. And when you throw strikes, that tends to happen. Ahead of Hannigan at no balls and 2 strikes. Homer Bailey next. And then Brandon Phillips. Pick up by Descalso. 1 out.
Well, the double play that ended the inning, the strike him out, throw him out kind. What made this impressive is that was a breaking ball in the dirt. And looked like there was something out of nothing. But look how the runner, Beltran's heel, goes right into the foot of Brandon Phillips. keeps him from getting to the bag. Not intentional by Phillips as he just grabs the ball and tags him, but that's the reason why Beltran never did get the second base.
There's a one pitch at bat for Homer Bailey.
I don't really understand that. I mean, if you're in the middle of the order, I never want to take the bat out of a guy's hand. But when you're down by 4 runs, you're facing a pitcher that is getting his pitch count up there if you let him. Last couple of innings, as you said, Tom, has been very efficient. 9 pitches in each inning after throwing nearly 20 in the second. Check that. His pitch count is, he can go 15 innings tonight at that rate.
Oh, and you go 9, 9, and then 4 to get what, 8 outs? That's barely more than 2 pitches per at bat. Brandon Phillips bounced out to the mound on the first pitch in the first inning, and then struck out in the second.
There are a lot of ball clubs out there. I'm not sure how, a lot, but I do know for a fact that there are several that have their pitchers take a strike in every at bat. Unless it's an RBI situation, you're expecting a cookie on the first pitch, then you let them swing. But if you've got 1 out, nobody on, really no harm. I mean, Homer Bailey's probably the same hitter on an 0-1 count that he is on a first pitch count. Not getting on Homer Bailey, just the kind of the theory of it all. Maybe he missed the sign, who knows?
One and 2 on Brandon Phillips. Oh, by the way, through all this pitch count talk and all the walks in the first 2 innings, the Reds are still looking for their first hit of this game. Now we're in the bottom of the 5th inning with 2 outs and nobody on, and there it is. Jim Day, we understand, is standing by in the Reds dugout with more on number 4, Jimbo.
Yesterday, Brandon Phillips got his 1,000th hit in a Reds uniform. He said he had no idea that he was even close to it. He got his 1,000th hit overall in Major League Baseball, apropos against his former team, the Indians. But as he rounded first yesterday, heard the crowd cheering and turned to Billy Hatcher, the first base coach, and said, "Hatch, hey, what are they cheering about?" And Hatch says, "I don't know." He had no idea, looked up on the scoreboard and saw himself on there. He said, "Whatever I did was good, so I better wave to the crowd." So he started waving to the crowd. PA announcer finally announced it, and then he said, "Oh, my 1,000th hit is a Red." Very nice.
Very nice indeed. Mr. CincinnatiUSA.com. Jim Day. Where is Jim Day? Well, right now he's down by the Reds dugout. I mean, you can catch him everywhere, all about town. Knocked down by Westbrook, and he'll throw down the line. Phillips on his way to third. They're going to wave him around. The throw is going into third. Kozart back to the bag, and the Reds are on the board. That'll be a single and an error, which allows Phillips to come home with the Reds' first run.
Boy, hit it hard right back at the pitcher. Sometimes it's better just to put it in your pocket. Looks like he deflected it with his glove. Probably tell everybody it's all right. May have picked up a little bit of his pitching hand on that. Tried to make a miracle play, and Brandon just kind of stutter steps around second base, sees the ball go down to the tarp, and he's going to be waved in by Mark Berry. But as you notice, as Brandon walked into the dugout and down the steps limping rather badly, he may have pulled something there as he stopped it and started up again. So, boy, all of a sudden, you know, you got 8, 9, and 1 in the order. 2 up, 2 down on 3 or 4 pitches. And then just like that, you strike, you get a little excitement going, get some momentum going on your part of on the offense. You got the fans back into the game a little bit, and your main man coming to the plate.
Joey Votto has walked and flied out to left. Well, if we get any kind of update on if there's anything going on there with Brandon Phillips. Brandon is not in the dugout. He went down the dugout steps and right back up into the tunnel that leads to the Reds clubhouse. Hopefully we're going to see him springing out of there momentarily. All right, 0-1 to Votto. Cozart in scoring position. Just off the inside corner to even the count of the ball and a strike. Two and one. Started two. They appeal. And Angel Campos said Votto went too far. You be the judge.
Hard to tell from this angle. That's why they asked the third base umpire, did you go or not? Nonetheless, good pitch by Westbrook.
And this time he's rung up by C.B. Buckner. So Votto gone on strikes. Reds get their first two hits, score their first run. They trail by 3. Chris Welsh will join him. Reds Live brought to you by King's Honda. In the King's Auto Mall, visit King'sHondaUSA.com. Well, bad news for the Reds. We were hoping to see Brandon Phillips come out of the clubhouse, and it's not happened. Wilson Valdez takes over at second base for Brandon Phillips. And Jim Day is still down there by the Reds dugout, and if we hear anything about Brandon, we will let you know ASAP. Meanwhile, Homer Bailey gave up 4 in the first inning. He's allowed just 2 hits since. Reds down 4-1, and Lance Berkman down strike 1 to begin the inning. Bailey has fanned 4. All 4 have come over the last 4 innings. He's walked 2. Allowed 4 runs, 6 hits, and 3 home runs. All home runs coming in the Cardinals' very first inning. Late appeal there by Ryan Hannigan, and then C.B. Buckner points down to Campos, who rings up Berkman for now a count of 0-2 rather than 1-1.
They're in a ringing up mood tonight.
Sure are. Fastball at 94 right by Berkman, and that's the 5th strikeout of the game by Bailey. Go ahead and mark your calendars. April 27, 28, 29, the first Reds 4 for 48 ticket deal. $48, you get 4 view level tickets and a voucher for a large La Rosa's pizza. So cheer on the Reds when they take on the Astros. April 27, 28, 29, and take advantage of the Reds 4 for 48 ticket deal. For tickets 381 Reds, visit reds.com/4 for 48.
I like that deal.
I tell you, they have so many unbelievable deals here at Great American Ballpark, and I mean, here we are in just a terrible economy, and so many folks trying to stretch a few dollars. There's a fly ball into center field, and I can promise you the Reds have a deal to make it affordable for hopefully you kind of come down to the ballpark. And they got the Kroger meal deal. You bring a family of 4 down here for $28 and feed everybody in the family. That 4 for 48, I mean, you're talking big league seats there. And you get a large pizza to go along with it. So if somebody tells you got to spend $100 to bring a family to a ball game, not a chance around here. Not even close. (2-0) on Yadier Molina. He homered to cap off the 4-run first inning to straightaway center field. Fly to the warning track and right in the 4th. Reds will have 4, 5, and 6 in the batting order coming up when they bat in the 6th inning. Roland, Bruce, and Heisey. Reds finally getting on the board in the 5th. And there is a 4-pitch walk with 2 men out in the inning. And here comes Dusty Baker, and that may be all for Bailey, who's thrown 91 pitches in the game. Reds have action in their bullpen. Left-hander Bill Bray, and they're going to bring him on to face John Jay.
He's trying to talk his way to stay in this ball game, and Dusty has already called for the reliever.
So Bailey will make his way back to the Reds' first base side dugout. And Bill Bray will come on our Skyline call to the bullpen. We'll be back. allows 2 hits over the next 4 2/3, but he walks Yadier Molina with 2 outs and nobody on here in the 6th inning, and that's all. So here's Bill Bray.
79 games last year. First game for Bill Bray this year. Of course, he missed a lot of spring training with a leg injury that kept him out of the A games until right towards the very end.
Well, Dusty Baker has gone on record as saying the primary reason he moved Aroldis Chapman down to the bullpen from the starting rotation, because let's face it, Chapman earned his way into the Reds rotation the way he pitched in Arizona. Bray still, for all intents and purposes, in spring training. But John Jay chases one up in the strike zone and pops it up to retire the side. All right, here we go. Reds coming up in the 6th inning, trailing 4-1. Through the first 4 2/3 innings. And Brandon Phillips got a hit. Cozart got a hit. An error brought in the Reds' only run. We'll see if they can get a little bit closer here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Rolling to lead things off against Jake Westbrook. And there's a strike to even the count. Rowan is popped to short and flied out to shallow right. Paul rights himself and makes a strong throw to Berkman. Well, of course, earlier this spring, deadly tornadoes hit the tri-state area, affecting our neighbors throughout Reds country. And during our homestand, you can help make a difference in the lives of those by making a cash donation to Matthew 25 Ministries during this homestand. Matthew 25 Ministries will be stationed on the terrace level behind the plate, accepting cash donations for tornado relief. And believe me, if it's Matthew 25 Ministries, all the money is going to help those victims. All of it. So we thank you for your help in the relief fund efforts. Matthew 25 Ministries, based out of Blue Ash, is ranked among the top 5 charitable organizations in the United States every year. The work they do is almost unparalleled in our country and around the world. I mean, there are a lot of great organizations out there. If you're thinking about putting some money into one of them, I think the number last year was over 97% of all of their donations go directly to where you want it to go. It's an amazing group of people. Jay Bruce loops one into right center. That's a base hit. So he's a void for Heisey. One out, down 3 in the 6th.
Looks like that ball gets in on Jay just a little bit, but you can see it was even off the plate. A little bit of a cut fastball, maybe a slider that didn't have a lot of depth, just went straight across, but Jay brought his hands in just enough to get into the outfield.
That's Jay Bruce's first hit where he didn't jog around the bases this year.
Yeah. I like when he jogs.
Yeah. So does he. So does the crowd.
He's hit one to left center, one to center, and one to right. Being very democratic with the locations of his home runs.
Wow. Very nice. Oh, and one on Heisey. Double play ball here. This will end the inning. We move to the 7th at Great American Ballpark. Opener, this 3-game set. The Cardinals lead by 3. Cardinals jumped all over Homer Bailey with 2 outs and nobody on. Home run, Matt Holliday after a walk. 2-run home run for David Freese. And the very next batter, Yadier Molina, straightaway center field, a 3-home run inning and a 4-0 St. Louis lead. Reds got on the board, got their first hit. Brandon Phillips singled in the 5th. And then this base hit by Kozar. Thrown down the right field line. The bad news is Brandon Phillips was injured after that subtle stop and quick start again. Had a in favor of Wilson Valdez. That's where we stand at the end of 6. 4-1 St. Louis. We understand Brandon Phillips has some cramping in his left hamstring. That's a report we're getting. So hopefully that's all there is to it. Cramping, and he gets some ice on that thing, and just for precautionary reasons, we understand he was lifted from the game. So Bill Bray came on to get the final out in the 6th inning, and they'll stay in to face the left-handed batting Daniel Descalso to begin the 7th. Jake Westbrook will bat. Of course, that Cardinal bullpen this time a year ago, they opened things with Ryan Franklin as their closer. He blew a save on opening day. That one pulled down the right field line towards the corner. Foul. And they did not wait very long on Ryan Franklin. He lost his job. The Cardinals wound up giving 8 different pitchers chances to save a game. And their bullpen was just brutal until about the 2nd week of August. And that's the only way to describe it. they still, as great as they were in September, they still led the league with 26 blown saves. But boy, oh boy, so many of those guys that were struggling April, May, and June, July, and early August. All of a sudden it came together as their strike 3 to Descalso. And Chris, they were virtually unhittable the last 2 weeks of August, all of September, right on through the postseason.
Well, they had a number of different pitchers who picked up saves for them last year, Tom. The number was 7 or 8. Here's the number right here. Fernando Salas, who's still on the ball club, is a setup guy. Jason Mott will be the closer, at least to start the season. Look at all the other guys that all pitched in last year. And that really ought to help them this year in the bullpen, knowing that you've got a handful of pitchers that are in that bullpen that have been in the 9th inning for you the year before, a World Series year.
Of course, there are a lot of people out there. I mean, you know, every team has its skeptics going into the year. There is no perfect team. And there are some that would counter, that would say, well, yes, they're going to benefit from the postseason experience and how well they pitched as a group in the postseason. Others will say, well, was that a mirage, or are they closer to the group that pitched the way it did through nearly the first 5 months of the year? And then you throw in the fact that, you know, a lot like any pitcher, Chris, when you play through a division series, a 6-game league championship series, and then a 7-game World Series, how much wear and tear is that on that coming back the following year?
There's a lot of wear and tear on it. I mean, I think that Chris Carpenter totaled all about 270 innings when you add up all the postseason and so on. I'm not saying that's the reason he's on the disabled list right now, but eventually it's got to take its toll. You have a short winter. You're doing banquets, you're celebrating, everywhere you go, everybody wants the Cardinals there, wants representatives of the team. Next thing you know, you turn around, it's time for spring training. You really didn't have much of an off season. And that's what those teams will tell you that win it. Happened to the Giants the other year, happened to the Cardinals, I think, last year. But, you know, would you rather not be there or be there?
No doubt.
I think there's no question that you would rather be there every year and show up in spring training tired and give it a shot again.
The last National League team to win back-to-back World Series, the Big Red Machine, 75 and 76, a National League team to do it last. In fact, the Big Red Machine, the last National League team to win back-to-back World Series, going all the way back to the New York Giants in 1921 and 1922.
That's amazing.
It really is, to think one team in the National League since 1922. And now the Cardinals are trying to do what the Reds did. There's a walk to for a call after he was ahead in the count at 1-2. Well, speaking of the Big Red Machine, that exhibit is going on right now, presented by Dinsmore and Scholl at the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum. It is spectacular. A must-see for all ages, and open now. For more information, visit redsmuseum.org today. Here you see the likeness of the statue of Pete Rose, George Foster. Strike one to Carlos Beltran. Bray had retired. The first 3 batters he had faced in this game. This is his debut of the 2012 year before that walk to for a call, and now jumps in front of Beltran at 0-2. Reds have Stubbs, Hannigan, and then a pinch hitter for Bill Bray due up in the bottom of the 7th inning. Out of play. Kyle Loesch, the Cardinals' opening day starter and winner. We'll see him in this series. He'll be going tomorrow night. There's a swing and a miss, and Hannigan can't find it. Bray does. Takes a while to get rid of it, but throws a strike down to Votto, and that's set. So a man left. They stand and stretch at Great American Ballpark. Reds trying to take a bite out of a 4-1 deficit. Girls Club of America, a place where youth can reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. If you'd like to learn more, please visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. Jake Westbrook set to begin the bottom of the 7th inning, and a first pitch roller to the right side, 1 out. The first 20 pitches of the game Westbrook threw, 15 of them were out of the strike zone. He has not walked a batter since issuing back-to-back walks in the 2nd inning, and that's thanks in very, very large part to the fact that the Reds are averaging a little more than 2 pitches per plate appearance ever since the 2nd inning.
Well, they did the same thing yesterday against Carlos Zambrano, who showed some wildness early on. Then he began to settle down and throw more strikes. You know, one of the things that people talked about a lot with the 2011 ball club was that they struck out a lot. Not just Drew Stubbs, but other guys as well. And one of the ways you do that, you stay away from the strikeout, is you swing earlier in the count. Don't get yourself into a hole where now you've got a pitcher's count where you've got to hit his slider or his best breaking ball. And one guy who's really taken that to heart is Drew Stubbs. You can see him so far this year much more aggressive early in the count. You've got to hand a little bit of the credit to Jake Westbrook. You know, it was 9 days between times that he started, from the time the spring training ended until right now. And I think the first couple of innings he was wild, mainly because he just was rusty. And he's found himself a nice groove. He gets the ball, he's ready to go. When you step back in the batter's box, Westbrook's ready to rock and fire.
2-2 on Ryan Hannigan, who's lined to right and grounded out to second base. Hard hit ball there, but to the left of for a call. 2 outs. And now Willie Harris, 0 for 2 as a pinch hitter, will come up and bat for Bill Bray, who looked very sharp tonight. Outside of that walk, an inning and a third, struck out 2, no hits, no runs. It's good to see Bray throwing the ball well tonight.
Yeah, you always wonder about a guy like Bill Bray, who did not have much of a spring training time. You even mentioned it. He's kind of still in the tail edges of his own spring training. But being a short reliever like that, normally coming in to face only 1 or 2 batters, I'm not sure that you have to build up the stamina and the arm strength, but you do have to get a feel of your breaking ball. And he threw a number of very good ones tonight.
One and one to Willie Harris. Harris played well, brought in as a non-roster invitee to spring training. A 1-2-3 7th, and not a ball left the infield. We go to the 8th. Cardinals 4, Reds 1. Is 4G network. AT&T Rethink Possible by CCHMC. Cincinnati Children's in the top 10 for all selected pediatric specialties in U.S. News and World Report. And by the dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado and your tri-state Chevy dealers. Cardinals lead 4-1. They bat here in the top of the 8th inning, and now the 3rd Red pitcher used tonight. This one, right-hander Jose Arredondo.
Second year that Jose has been with the Reds. He came over from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Of course, he missed the 2010 season due to having Tommy John surgery on his throwing arm. 53 games last year, very tidy, 3.23 earned run average. Fastball, forkball, those are his 2 pitches, and he gets that forkball working right. That ball will just go straight down.
Well, the Reds really believe this has a chance to be an even better year for Arredondo if he can improve the one area, and that's his command. You saw the numbers, nearly a strikeout an inning, but also walked 36 batters. And it seemed like last year, the first batter in the inning was the one that gave him the most trouble. He's fallen behind Holiday here 2-0. Part of the order, Holiday, Berkman, and Freeze.
Whew. Holiday looking for a fastball. That's what a split finger pitch will do. That's the last pitch was a split finger pitch. Not even near being a strike, but when it comes out of the pitcher's hand, it looks like it's got a chance. Holiday zoning for a fastball, 2-0. Ball bounces in the dirt, and he check swings. Credit the pitcher on that.
Came back with the same pitch, and Holiday bangs it into the ground to the shortstop Cozart. 1 out. Milwaukee and the Cubbies there at Wrigley Field tonight. Brewers with a 5-3 lead. That game in the last of the 6th inning. Cubs lost 2 out of 3 to begin their year against the Nationals. And the Brewers lost 2 out of 3 again over the weekend of these Cardinals. A couple of finals from earlier today. We told you the Marlins beat the Phillies 6-2. Anibal Sanchez getting a win in that one. Berkman unhappy with the call there that he went around. And the Giants behind Barry Zito. And some help. Shut out Colorado. Rockies home opener 7-0. Reds have a top of the order coming up in the bottom of the 7th inning. They're down by 3. And Arredondo trying to keep it a 3-run game with 1 out and nobody on here in the 8th. Three and 2. Cardinals do not have a soul getting loose in their bullpen. There's ball 4 to Berkman, so a 1-out walk after Arredondo was ahead in the count at 1-2. Reds fans, if you're in the restaurant industry, let JTM Food Group help you with great tasting, healthier products for your menu. JTM. Here's ball 1 to David Freese. Well, you talk about a guy who got hot and has never looked back. You include tonight his last 20 games, and that includes a postseason. We mentioned he was the NLCS and World Series most valuable player. He is hitting .443. You're talking about over 70 at-bats now. 15 extra base hits. 28 runs batted in. If you go back even further than that, Freese over his last 110 at-bats, 110 ABs, is hitting .420.
Well, originally signed by the Padres. Cardinals got him in exchange for Jim Edmonds when they sent Edmonds to San Diego. That was a Walt Jocketty move there. And it has paid off big time for the Cardinals ever since. It's a good story, too. He's a local boy. Yep. From Wildwood, Missouri. Did his college ball down in South Alabama.
Well, you think about those 2 hits he had in Game 6 last year when twice the Cardinals were down to their final strike. I mean, hanging on the very edge of elimination in the World Series. Freese knocks in a run with a double to right field and ends the game with a home run to straightaway center. I mean, that was truly one of the great games in the history of October baseball. That Game 6. Rolling. Can't find the handle. That'll be another hit for Freese. see the double to right as they were down to their final strike to tie the game, and then sent them home in jubilation in extra innings. And the Cardinals won it in Game 7 the very next night. That's a big league clutch home run.
Well, it got him all sorts of off-season big league appearances. On the Tonight Show, the Ellen DeGeneres Show, was a presenter at the Country Music Awards. Sounds like your winner.
Oh, yeah. I don't think there's any chance on any of those 3 shows that they would be in the cards in the future.
In fact, he was so big that at Six Flags St. Louis, they changed their name of their ride, which was Mr. Freeze with a Z, to Mr. Freeze with an S, which is the way he spells his name.
Very nice.
Got the key to St. Louis City. Riding high.
Arredondo in some serious trouble here. He took care of Holiday to begin the inning. He was ahead of Berkman before he walked him. Now he gives up the hit to Freeze and falls behind 2-0 on Yadier Molina.
Well, they were raving about Arredondo down in spring training because they thought his fastball was back. But bottom line, that he has to be able to throw strikes.
His Cardinal team last year led the National League in runs scored, and that was with virtually 0 production out of their leadoff spot. Their leadoff batter only scored 81 runs last year, which was the least amount among all teams in the National League. But the one thing they don't do is strike out. They struck out less than 1,000 times. The only National League team to do so. Well, they generally put it in play. 3-2 now to Molina. Not much speed out there on the bases. A 3-2 count to a guy who generally puts the bat on the ball. And the runners go. And it is hammered into left center field. And it'll go all the way to the wall to drive in 2. And the Cardinals have busted this one wide open. 6-1 game.
They were betting that he was going to get a fastball right there, and he did. Yadier Molina's already hit a home run to dead center field, and he rips this one over the head of Chris Heisey in the gap in left center. We'll score a couple. He'll end up on second base, and this has been a rough inning for Arredondo. Really all set up by his inability to throw the ball over the strike zone.
Well, that is a huge base hit by Molina. Take it from a 3-run game to a 5-run spread. Brought up earlier, Molina was one of the few Cardinals coming into this game that wasn't exactly knocking the cover off the ball. They had a couple of doubles, but only one run driven in, and they've scored almost, well, they've scored now 30 runs so far to begin this year. But Molina flexing his muscles tonight. 2 hits. Has also drawn a walk and knocked in 3. Now John Jay, 2-0. Alfredo Simon cranking it up in the bullpen. And there's a 4-pitch walk. Arredondo retired the first batter in the inning. But then he got ahead of Lance Berkman at 1 ball and 2 strikes before walking him. He allowed an infield hit to David Freese, a 2-run double to Molina. And now a 4 straight Cardinal reaches base, a second one on a walk, and here comes Descalso. But not before Dusty Baker will come out and throw the hook on Arredondo. So 2 runs so far here in the Cardinal 8th inning. And we'll get a look at the second time of Alfredo Simon. So stick around for that. We'll be back in a minute. To take what was a 3-run lead now to 5. And now on for the second time in a Reds uniform. They picked him up from Baltimore just before the season began. Is Alfredo Simon.
Yeah, very quiet deal. The Reds got him off the waiver wire. He was in Baltimore last year. A number of those appearances were starts. But he'll be working out of the bullpen here for the Reds. Hard thrower. Had a rough time his first time out. Ended up striking out the side, but gave up a couple of bombs.
Daniel Descalso is 0 for 3. Bounced to the mound, struck out swinging, and struck out looking. 2-1 the count on Descalso, and now 3 balls and a strike. Mercy. Matt Carpenter, standing in the on-deck circle, will bat for Jake Westbrook. When this inning began, the Cardinals did not have anybody getting loose in their bullpen. Of course, I'm not sure they saw this kind of inning coming against Arredondo, and now they're loaded. As Simon walks the first batter he faces, that's a 3rd walk in the inning. So now Carpenter, a rookie on the opening day roster for the first time in his career, had a great spring, led the team with 20 hits. 9 of those were for doubles. He was a 2010 Cardinals minor league player of the year. And there's ball 1. Carpenter got a start yesterday at first base. Had a pinch hit 2-run double in the 9th inning on Friday in the rout of Milwaukee. That was an opening day game for the Brewers, where Giovanni Gallardo was lit up by this St. Louis team, which has been pretty much standard operating procedure for the Cardinals against the Milwaukee A's. In the air left center field, will plate another run. Tagging and scoring is Molina. On to third goes John Jay, and it's a 7-1 game. So now the 8th man to bat in the inning is for a call. 0 for 3 is drawn a walk. So here in a nutshell, you're really getting a look at what the Cardinals did all of last year. I mean, they are piling up runs. Now, most of the time to begin this year, Furcall has been on base. He had 10 hits through the first 4 games of the year. But tonight, not a hit, has drawn a walk, not scored a run, yet their team has 7. And again, we brought up that they got next to nothing out of that leadoff spot. Not only the lowest run total by the #1 spot in the batting order among all National League teams, they had the 14th lowest on base percentage out of that #1 spot. What a play by Hannigan. One and two, the count on for a call, and a breaking ball ends the inning, but not before a 3-run 8th. 4-1 turns into 7-1. Daughter, a big league experience this summer. The official Reds baseball and softball camps presented by Safeco Insurance. All campers receive their own Reds uniform, special instruction from a Reds coach. You get to come on the field here at Great American Ballpark, plus a guest appearance by a current Reds star. For more information on the official Reds camp, visit reds.com/camps today. And they're all over Reds country, not just in greater Cincinnati. So Jake Westbrook ends up going 7 innings tonight, allows 3 hits and 1 unearned run, and will give way to left-hander. Came over from Toronto in the Colby Rasmus deal last year, Mark Zepchinski. His nickname is Scrabble.
I can see why.
Yes.
I'll take another consonant, please. A lot of them there.
Well, the Cardinals taking a 4-1 lead to a 7-1 lead after a 3-run top of this 8th inning. And here's Wilson Valdez batting for the first time. When Brandon Phillips scored the only Reds run back in the 5th inning, started feeling some cramping in his left hamstring. So as a precautionary measure, they got him out of the game, and hopefully he'll be back in there tomorrow. 1 out. And now it is time for our Miller time moment. The first home run in the career of Zach Cozart. That's when the Reds came off that road trip where Cozart initially had come up, and he clubbed that home run. If I'm not mistaken, he had a home run in his final at bat of that homestand after he first came up. They went on the road, he came back, and then homered in his first at bat when he got back. And that was a homestand where he wound up getting injured for the remainder of the season on that play at second base against the Atlanta Braves. Cozart, 1 of 2 in the game, has also drawn a walk. Reds will be leaning heavily upon Mike Leake here tomorrow night, his 2012 debut. He'll be up against Kyle Loesch as Cozart has gone swinging. Tickets are available for that one, so come on down tomorrow night. 7:10 game. Loesch was so impressive in the season opener, beating the Marlins in their new ballpark in Miami.
Boy, they were raving about Kyle Loesch, the Marlins were, when they were talking about how he pitched change speeds. He didn't do anything special except threw the ball exactly where he wanted to. Change speeds very nice. So you're going to get a couple of right-handers that live by that same creed going at it tomorrow night. Mike Leake, the same style of pitcher.
Loesch, the one-time Red. You talk about a guy whose career has been completely turned around. I give so much of the credit to Dave Duncan. I mean, Loesch had a couple of nice years when he first came up with Minnesota. And then when the Reds got him, never became the pitcher they hoped he would. They traded him, of course, to Philadelphia, and then, you know, really a reclamation project for Duncan. And by the way, speaking of Duncan, certainly our thoughts and prayers are out to him and his wife, who has been battling cancer. He had to take a leave from the ball club. A lot of people think he retired. He did not retire. He just felt like he needed the time to go back and be with his wife. Votto 0 for 2 has drawn a walk, fly to left, and struck out. But excuse me, check swing, a bouncer for a call, and a 1-2-3 eighth inning for Zepchinski. Cardinals will bat in the ninth, leading 7-1. That little angel with a baseball, all of a sudden she dropped it. They're hunting around for it. Well past her bedtime, no doubt. Maybe that's where she's heading right now. So good night, young lady, and we're off to the ninth inning, where the Reds are down 7-1 in the opener of this 3-game series with the Cardinals in town. They'll be here tomorrow night. No television. A reminder on Wednesday. That'll be a 12:35 start. Johnny Cueto against Jaime Garcia. Cueto so good on opening day. 7 shutout innings in the win over the Marlins. And Jaime Garcia was good on Friday. He gave up a couple of runs in the first inning to the Brewers.
Well, that's a good pitching matchup. Obviously, Tom, you point out a couple of things what they did the first time out. Jaime Garcia has always pitched very well against the Reds. I think his record is something like 6-1 against the Reds lifetime, which is why Mike Matheny, from about the middle of spring training on, set up his rotation so that Jaime Garcia would face the Reds twice here in the first couple of weeks.
Of course, the Reds and Cardinals will play the next 2 days here. The Reds go to Washington. The Cardinals go home to open their home schedule starting on Friday against the Cubs. And then the Reds come rolling in after 4 games in the nation's capital to open a 3-game series next week. Alfredo Simon. Coming in firing strikes here in the ninth inning. There's a tapper up the middle that'll roll into center field. Second hit of the game for Matt Holliday. Well, it's quite a journey the Reds are on following the next 2 days here. It's a 3-city road trip. 10 games spanning 11 days. That's a Nationals home opener on Thursday. That's an afternoon game. Off day Monday the 16th. Night game, day game in St. Louis, and then 3 straight day games at Wrigley Field. That is a much improved Washington Nationals team. Well, we talked about it during spring training, Chris, and Davey Johnson said he really believes the Nationals have a chance to have the best pitching in the National League this year, and that's quite a statement. Steven Strasburg, very impressive on opening day.
Well, the Reds will miss Strasburg. He's the one guy in that rotation that the Reds will not see in that four-man lineup. They'll see their big offseason free agent, though, Gio Gonzalez, who did not do well his first time out. He'll pitch the opener against Matt Latos.
Matt Latos did not mince any words, did he? After the game on Saturday night, he was very upset with himself, admitted he was nervous, trying to prove his worth right from the start. Very new team. In his Reds debut, called himself sloppy.
I can tell you what I saw out of that, Tom. Yeah, he was nervous and he overthrew his breaking ball, couldn't throw it for strikes. But with his stuff and that slider that he throws, let me tell you, there'll be games this year where he will just dominate. When he gets that nice release point on that slider, there'll be times out there you'll think, man, what a mismatch. I hope that happens a whole lot.
That was the first start for him in his last 18 starts where he allowed more than 4 runs in a game. So there's a lot to look forward to out of Matt Latos. Two and two to Berkman. And a breaking ball is dropped foul out of play. Cardinals batting in the ninth with a 7-1 lead. Well, Chris, it's nice to see you, sort of a little more relaxed. I saw you on opening day. You were very edgy, extremely uptight after, having to ride in the Philly Market Parade and then race over here as you swing and a miss, strike 3 to Berkman. It's nice to see the old Chris Welsh back in action tonight.
Well, nice and relaxed, just like that little feathered breaking ball, that change-up splitter that he throws on the outside corner. Got Lance Berkman way out in front. Yeah, I'm relaxed tonight. Kind of in the flow of things already. Opening day, like a lot of people, I get fired up.
No, that wasn't the word. No, definitely not. I've seen you fired up. No, cranky, edgy, on edge.
Too much coffee. Plus, you're in my space up here. Let's bottom line it.
But now everything, you have everything set up. Your computer.
It's all good.
Dick Moss came in here in the booth and drilled a hole in the top of the table to make sure you had all your computer wired up and everything ready to go. And
it's all good from here on out, partner.
I'm so glad.
All downhill.
I was worried about you. There's strike 1 to David Freese. That's the one thing a lot of people may not know about Chris Welsh. He is really, by and large, one of the most easygoing guys you'll ever meet. And so it is so rare that you behave that way.
Nothing like a public scolding.
Always been in huge favor of public humiliation. Having the sophomoric sense of humor, which from time to time I like putting on that cap.
Well, what goes around comes around, my man.
Swing and a miss, and that'll do it in the Cardinal ninth inning. So the Reds have one more crack at them. They trail 7-1 coming to bat in the bottom of the ninth. for a call. A brilliant play after he had committed an error on a routine play in the 4th inning. Next batter up, Heisey hit a smash. And a great play made by Furcall to get the force out.
Well, a lot of zeros up there on the board tonight for both ball clubs. The damage for the Cardinals done in just 2 innings, the 1st and the 7th. Reds only 3 hits on the night. They will face their 3rd pitcher of the night in Fernando Salas. 68 games last year, 24 of those resulted in saves.
Salas on Saturday was hit extremely hard by Milwaukee. He came into a tight game. It was only 4-0 at the time. I want to tell you, he gave up some rockets in that one. Allowed a home run, a couple of doubles. They got him out of the game. Wound up being touched for 2 runs. Zepchinski works a perfect inning with a strikeout. In relief of Jake Westbrook, who allowed 1 unearned run. Pop up down the right field line. 1 out. And 1 account on Jay Bruce. Swing and a miss, 1-2. Reds are down to their final out. And 1 account on Heisey. And a breaking ball to dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike. Heisey tonight 0 for 2. Drew a walk back in the 2nd inning. One-two delivery. And he doesn't chase that time. Simon did not allow a run tonight out of the Reds bullpen. So he goes an inning and 2/3. Allows 1 hit, fans 3 and walks about it. And that'll do it. So the Cardinals, the beat goes on. They have started this year at 4-1. and win the opener of this 3-game series. A night game tomorrow night, afternoon game on Wednesday. And plenty of tickets are available. We invite you to come on down to the ballpark. So the first one in this series in the book. Bailey, the loser, in his 2012 debut. Westbrook wins his 2012 debut in a 7-1 Cardinal win. But we'll tie a ribbon around this one when we come back.